Hey everybody, thank you so much for coming back to my channel. I thought I'd show you all one of the projects I was working on. So these flowers were just something to entertain myself. I had to be in a waiting room for a long time, and I bought a variety of things to do, and this was one of those. And these are just some simple yarn flowers, as you can see. And you really don't need much to make these, so they're easy things to take on the go. So as you can see, you need some yarn, and this I got from Hobby Lobby on clearance. Then you need something to wrap the yarn around, in this case just a piece of dowel that I had. Pair of scissors, and I use travel ones, so when I'm out from the house, that way I don't have to worry about the sharp ends. You need a needle that has a eye big enough to put the yarn through, and something for the centers, in this case the beads from Stace. Thank you, Stace. And that's it. That's all you need to make the flowers. Okay, these are some very simple flowers. I don't knit, I don't crochet, so you know these are just really simple and easy to go. And this is really great if you don't really need to think too hard, but you want somebody just to kind of distract your mind from what's going on. These are perfect. And all you do is you tie the yarn on with just a simple knot onto the item of your choice, and then you start wrapping. And you just wrap it on your finger and make a loop, and then put the loop over the top, pull the loop tight, and you want to make sure that the loops all line up in the same spot, so they create what I just call here like a little ridge, and you want that ridge to be as straight or in a row as possible. It doesn't have to be exact, because you're going to end up having it at the, hidden behind on the bottom of the flower. So you just keep going and going until you get the length of yarn loops that you want to have your flower. And let's just keep going until we get some enough loops. All right, so we've got a length on here, and this length will make an approximate size like this one. And the ridge, I call it, is semi-lined up. It doesn't have to be exact, but just semi in the row. And you want a single layer all the way across. All right, so you can see here that you've got a length, about the length of a finger length, of loops, and those come out to be about somewhere around in this size. You want your ridge here to be semi-lined up so that it's in a semi-straight line. It doesn't have to be exact, and all of your loops to be in a single row, not a whole bunch of overlapping. This is your beginning where you tied it onto the dowel or your item of your choice, and then you just cut off a section, and this one honestly is a little bit of a long section, to wrap around and make the flower itself. You're going to attach the yarn to the needle, and you're going to feed this needle all the way under, all the way across, and you don't have to do it all in one. I don't, but if you're more talented than me, you might be able to do it. But you just slide it under without doing what I'm doing, and just slide it under as far as it'll go, and then lift it up, usually a little farther than that, but just to kind of give you a sample. And you don't want the loop to wrap back around the item that you're using, the dowel in this case, and you don't want to pull it as tightly as I just did, because you want this to stay like this. So you don't want to keep pulling your loops tighter and tighter together. Then once you get that section pulled through, just find where you went under, and then go under the next section. And I just keep going under until it doesn't want to slide down any further, and then pull it through. And again, you don't want the loop to form around the dowel again, and you want to keep it as close to that ridge line as you can, and then pull it back so you don't have your loops pulling forward. And we're going to keep doing that until we get all the way back to the top, and then I'll show you the step after that. All right, so When you get all the way to the end, you're just pulling it all the way in so that side by side here. And you've got both ends coming out at the same place. And you want to go back through and make sure to put your ridge back in as much an alignment as you can before you pull it off your dowel. And check, make sure you haven't bunched any of this up as well so that it doesn't ruin your flower. But again, as you can see here, it doesn't have to be perfect, just semi-aligned. Now keep your okay, well, you're going to keep your yarn attached to your needle because you're going to feed it back through the other way once you pull it off the dowel. And you want to hold it in place so that the rings don't all become loose and go every which way, because then it's harder to connect it. And you're going to be taking the end that you just fed through and you're going to feed it back through the other end once you remove the dowel. So just carefully pull it and hold on to it. And you're going to feed the needle back through the other way, opposite from the way it is now. And you just go back through the little I don't know, yarn tunnel here. And so you come back through the same opening, and you're going to be holding onto these loops because you don't want them to come loose. And this, you don't need this much yarn. I kind of overdid it. So now that you've got it kind of like this, you're going to just pull it, and you want the ridges all on one side like this as you pull it so closed here. So this is what the top side of the flower is going to look like once you've pulled it through, and this is the back side. And then you're just going to want to loop and close up some of these end pieces so that your flower stays together. And I'm just gonna put my yarn back through this way. And you can pull it a little tighter if you want your, so you want it so your hole is gone. Here we go, but not so tight that you're scrunching up your flower. And then just kind of catch it under some of the ridge on both sides, and without pulling it tight, you're just using this to anchor it. And you're just gonna go back and forth a couple times just to hold the loop in place without it coming loose. And you can go, side by side with it or across, whatever you want to do in order to hold your yarn in place. And so just do it a couple times just to hold it there. So, and always checking to make sure you don't pull too tight so your flower doesn't turn wonky. Then you're going to want to pick a center. And let's pick this darker one here. Or do you like the red? Oh, I like the dark blue. So let's do the dark blue. Okay. So you're going to take, and you need it to come out the top. So just go back underneath and come out somewhere in the middle. And then, of course, just like you would sew on a button. And you feed it through, just determine how you want your button or your bead, to, in this case, to sit, and then feed it back through just like you would be sewing on a button. And you do this several times to hold it in place. And I won't do it that many times, but just to give you an example. And you want it tight enough that it stays in place, but not so tight that it tightens up your flower. And just keep doing that several more times until you feel that it's secure. And then you would take and tie these two together, like, just a regular old little knot. Here, and I usually do it a couple times. And there you go with the here. And of course you're gonna do this more times than I just did it. And then you can leave this extra yarn like you see I've done on here. So whatever project you're working on, if you need it, something to attach it with, you have it here. If you don't, you can just snip it off at the time and toss away the extra. So these are the easy, super duper easy yarn flowers. Again, there are probably better tutorials online than what I just did, but this is the way I make mine. So thank you so much for checking out my channel. I definitely appreciate it. I hope you liked this little project, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.